The downside of waiting until the week after next to get started on 7 Days of Sunny June is that I have to wait. I mean, I like doing all these one shots, sure, but it's the waiting. You realize you brought this upon yourself, correct? Yeah, I did. It's better to start off the week after vacation with a good epic rather than stopping myself right in the middle of it. It's just annoying. Well, still, here's Pinkie Pie discovers coffee. The hallway second floor, Sugar Cube corner was quiet, almost eerily so. There wasn't a noise to be heard, even though there were two newborn foals and a notoriously hyper-peaked pony in one of the bedrooms. When the cakes came upstairs, it was music to the ears that there wasn't any commotion. They opened the door to the bedroom to catch them asleep in their crib, with Pinkie standing watch over them, looking a little sleepy herself. She perked up when she saw they were home and closed the door behind her. "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Kink," Pinkie whispered. "I thought you were going to be a lot longer. You said you wanted me back until 3, but now it's only 2:15. Did the ponies and the baby cars not like you too?" "Oh dear, no," said Mrs. Cake. "They still justice, but it was a lot shorter than we imagined." "That's not the best part," said Mr. Cake. "We came home to tell you we finally got the catalog." He reached into his saddlebag and finally pulled out a catalog for safe cafe products. The title was Getting a Better Day's Rest, a listing of cafe products 2012, and had a picture of many goodies for the cover, like coffee and exotic cookies. "Oh, does that mean we're selling more stuff in the car now?" asked Pinkie Pie. "We have so many treats to choose from, cupcakes and carrot cakes like your niece, and all the ponies say to me, 'I love these cakes, Pinkie Pie, thanks so much.' But if we sell more things in the corner, even more ponies will go out with smiles. Who doesn't like to smile?" "I know I do," laughed Mr. Pinkie's imagination. "I would have froze when we were gone." "Wonderful. You are getting better all the time, and I only had to use one bag of flour today." "Flour?" Mr. Cake asked, a little puzzled. "What are you doing with a bag of flour?" "Oh, just for baking cakes," she lied. "I promise that's all they do. After all, their pies are growing up and they know all about cakes." The cakes brought the excuse and looked back to the foals. The babies were sleeping soundly in their beds by then. The cakes agreed to pay Pinkie Pie the agreed amount of bits, so he went outside to the corner. So he said something about needing to be part of Twilight's latest experiment involving mains before she was gone. They laughed once they were alone. Grateful, Pinkie appeared to be getting better all the time at this foal-sitting business. Not wanting to wake Pound and Pumpkin Cake, they went downstairs and dug up multiple jars filled to the brim with bits, each having the label Expansive Money. "It's finally time," he smiled over to her. "Can you believe it? After all these years of saving up, we finally have enough to look at this and buy something." "I can't believe it either," she said. "I'm pretty proud of you. That took a lot of work. Let's see what we can buy. But what can we get out of these products?"
"That's the best part for waiting this long. We can almost get everything for this catalog."
Eager to see for herself, she slipped through the pages and eyed the prices. It was true. There had to be thousands of bits in their inventory just for this. Nothing was above 1,000. They could cherry-pick whatever they wanted, and it wouldn't be a problem. But picking exactly what to purchase was trickier than they imagined. There were entire pages full of items they already had in their possession, especially when it came to the pastry section. It was odd. The catalog carried nothing but brand names, and occasionally they would even see their own name in it, or sold for friends using their best-known materials. Then things got a little more interesting. There was a section full of things they never had before in a section called the Cafe's Choice. Here they found such things like coffee cakes, bottled drinks, and coffee drinks. "Honey, what do you think about this coffee business?"
"Honey, what do you think about this coffee business?"
she wondered. "You mean those drinks loaded with caffeine?" he responded. "I haven't had a cup of coffee in years, but I used to drink them all the time in college. Took a lot of sugar and cream before I liked the taste, though. It wasn't worth the trouble."
"This Starburst brand says it comes with all of that. You're supposed to serve it with just all the sugar and cream inside. That's how the machines work."
"Can I see that? I haven't heard of a coffee maker like this before." She pushed the catalog down the table. I looked over the Starbits section. The illustrations of what the drinks were supposed to look like were a complete 180 from what he remembered. They featured towering cups, had so much sugar and cream that was naturally the sign of a good cup of coffee. Ah, how they first met. I don't know about this cupcake, he admitted. It's expensive to carry, and that's something we'll have to pass down to the customer. And we built this brand on cheap prices and good food.
But I've heard of what happened to other ponies that carry Starbits before. They got a lot of new business coming, and we can always keep the rest of our menu.
Now he was going to have to think about this. He tried back and forth, trying to weigh the pros and cons of the move. He knew that he would still have money left over, but if he voted on this one, he wouldn't have this much flexibility again for a while. But then again, he was gaining new surface when they carried Starbits in their shop too. Fine, he sighed. But you're sure we'll get more ponies coming in if we do this?
We'll be the first pony build to have Starbits coffee. That's speaking now. They're all in Cadillac and Clydesdale right now.
Really? Now go place an order for that machine right now.
Stay still. This won't hurt,
Twilight said, trying to keep Pinkie still.
But I don't know what this machine does. Does it sap ponies when it heats laser? Sprays them with gas that keeps them sleepy for years? I don't know! Pinkie shouted.
The massive machine took up almost the Twilight's first floor, down on a table with a massive pin at the end. So he tried in vain to strap Pinkie down, but only got out of the table and hopped around, dazzled by the flashing lights of the machine.
No, it doesn't do any of that.
It's perfectly safe, Twilight explained. It's part of what could be a breakthrough in main technology, one that could change all of Equestria.
Ooh, when you put it that way, I want to see what this is. Maybe you can make it poofier?
Twilight shook her head, and this finally got Pinkie to strap herself in. The maniac ready to go, the unicorn went up the ladder high above the table and found a dial going around. There, it had the color wheel in all its glory, as he turned it to the color blue. So he proceeded to press a gigantic red button next to the color wheel. The machine began to hum. And the noise was quiet to start. It got louder by the second, until it was so loud that Twilight had to cover her ears to bear it. A laser emerged from inside, pointed straight at Pinkie's mane. It was red colored at first, until it cycled through all the colors of the wheel, eventually landing on blue, wanting to cover all the table, and Pinkie disappeared in one bright blue. The light was almost as bright as the sun, yet she didn't make any kind of painful noises.
This kind of tickles. What does he use to make this machine going?
Gems and magic, Pinkie, Twilight responded, using a pair of goggles to cover her eyes. The whole room was immersed in the color blue, before it finally faded away back to normal. Twilight's goggles were burnt to a crisp from the power, so he tossed them away into the garbage bin. So he approached the table, curious if the process worked. And it did. Pinkie held up a mirror to see her mane had turned from its naturally pink side to a dark blue.
Wow, now I look like... Wait, I don't know many ponies with this kind of blue mane. Colgate has blue hair, but it's not all blue. It's white, too.
Yes, it worked! Twilight exclaimed. I finally changed the color of her mane. This is going to be great!
But you can already change the mane's color. It's called mane dye.
I know about that, but if this works just like it did, you could change it permanently. You'll never need another bottle again. Pinkie looked back at the mirror, looking back at her new blue mane.
Actually, can you change it back to pink for me? I really liked it that way. And pink's my name. After all, I don't think Bluey Pie's got the same ring to it.
No problem. I just hope it doesn't set the house on fire. It did make a lot of smoke. And there we go. It's all finished, Mr. Cake said, as the brand new Starbits neon sign lit up the storefront window. It had the image of Celestia herself, her hose tilted up and pointing at her head, while flowing drastic colors of green all around. The sign said, "We proudly serve Starbits coffee," for yet another great selling point of the bakery.
How does it look, honey bun?
Mrs. Cake asked from the inside, opening the door to capture her husband's reaction. It looks amazing. You're right. This was the right choice, he said, coming in to take a big look at the new steel-plated coffee machine. I had one of their lattes, and it was delicious. What do you think will be our first customer? Right then, Pinkie Pie and Twilight Sparkle came in, her whole bodies covered in ashes from head to hoof. They waved to greet the Cakes, thrilled for some odd reason. Maybe it was how Pinkie's hair was pink again?
Good heavens, girls! Mrs. Cake guessed. What happened to you two? Do you need to go to the hospital?
It's nothing, Mrs. Cake, Pinkie assured. It's just that Twilight wanted to be a mad scientist for a thing, and I said, how do you want to experiment on me today? And she said, I want to permanently change your hair color because I'm crazy. And I went along with it, and the machine worked. I even had a blue mane. But it's a very big machine, so when she changed it back, we had to go through 3 fire extinguishers. Don't worry, though, we only lost one book. It was an evil book on the scientist named...
Twilight had enough. It shut Pinkie up with a huff. What she's saying is, we're fine. The sign for the steel coffee machine grabbed her attention. What's that? That's our brand new coffee, Mr. Cake boasted. It's our latest addition to our menu, and it makes all kinds of coffee. Latte, frappe, plain coffee. It's something we thought ponies would like.
What's coffee?
He opened his mouth to answer back. A thought hit him. Pinkie Pie, with a cup of coffee! The idea of such a hyperactive pony with a whole cup of caffeine in her system. Mr. Cake almost fainted at the sight of it, but had to explain this. It's a drink made of these beans, you see. They're all mixed together to make a drink full of caffeine. Caffeine helps you keep all the energy you have, so if you're really tired, it can keep you awake.
That sounds good. Can I try it first?
He gasped when he heard those words. It was going to happen whether he wanted to or not. Pinkie would have turned on the machine when they were sleeping if he refused today. He looked back at his wife to know what to do. She might have looked as grim as he was, but she nodded. It put old Ponyville in mortal danger, but they had no choice with Pinkie Pie. Are you sure you want one? You might not like the taste.
But I just looked at the new menu, and it says you use milk for that frappe. That's the best thing ever. Milk is tasty, and frappe is fun to say. Frappe, frappe, frappe!
Pinkie's right. Okay, one frappe out of the way. What flavor? So look back to the menu, seeing all the flavors.
I like chocolate.
With the order of doom made, he went over to the machine. This could mark the end of Ponyville, and he knew it. He went ahead and put the settings on, giving orders to make one large chocolate frappe. The cup was placed in the dispenser and would take a while to make, delaying their final moments a little longer. It was a relief to him, as he wanted to enjoy this final moment with his wife. So he came over and hugged each other tight, like one would be before she went out to war. Twilight Sparkle didn't like this at all. What was the big deal? Pinkie Pie smiled when she heard the machine whirled, making her first cup of coffee ever. She didn't know how it would taste, and just add to the excitement. Would it really taste like a chocolate bar? Or would it taste like melted chocolate that's just as yummy? All the possibilities. It was going to be great! After several minutes, the machine put the whipped cream on top of the chocolate syrup. The final step in the process, Mrs. Cake pulled back and washed in tears as Mr. Cake pulled the frappe out and put it in the counter within Pinkie's reach. There. One chocolate frappe, he wept. I'm sorry it took this long.
What? That's not a problem, especially when it's this good. Pinkie researched. Now let's dig in.
She stuck a straw through the layer of whipped cream and right into the sugary goodness. With her mouth watering, she stuck the straw in her mouth and took one large gulp, the caffeine going inside her body, seemingly empowering her energy. The cake stove under the counter, preparing the worst onto each other, praying that Celestia would take their eyes early so they won't see the destroyed Equestria. But nothing happened. There's nothing but peace and quiet, and Pinkie saying, Yummy! They came back up to see Pinkie with the frappe, looking as happy as ever, and Twilight still having no idea what was going on. Mr. Cake gasped.
Nope,
Pinkie responded.
Well, what about the caffeine? Don't you feel any different?
Mrs. Cake said.
A little. My stomach feels like it's got a bunch of ants crawling around, and they're the most hyper ants I ever met. But that's it.
Shocked and surprised, they wiped the sweat off their foreheads. Well, this is gonna work out after all.
Yes, indeed.
It's really delicious. It's like drinking a chocolate bar. I like this every day and the ants can calm down.
It does look delicious, Twilight Sparkle said. You think I could have a sip?
Of course!
She handed Twilight the cup, and the unicorn used her horn to bring the cup over to her face. She took the straw in her mouth and had her own sip of the masterpiece before giving it back.
Oh, this is really good, she nodded. Now, I really should go back and clean off all the dust off of my ass.
I'll make a saucy all of you guys!
Suddenly, Twilight became a living ball of energy, exploding into the empty air and launching straight for the cakes. They were taken off guard as she tackled to the ground, her pupils shrinking as she became the horror they were afraid Pinkie would become.
Oh my gosh, I just thought about how awesome it was that you had the coffee!
Twilight ranted, slurring her words together.
It's coffee! I can stay awake all the time now. It's all thanks to you!
She left out the carrot to the table area.
I love coffee! Yes, I do. In fact, I want more to do. I love how we did. I swear I'm not in a trance. Twilight, you're sounding like Sakara now.
Pinkie nodded, as the cakes fled for their lives to the second floor.
I'm sure that's nice, but do you even know you're rhyming? Of course I don't, because I now know that coffee is the answer to everything. What's 2 plus 2? 4 coffees! What's the center of the universe? Where coffee is present? Dearest Princess Celestia, let's get coffee!
Unicorn lunch and crashed her way outside the window, raving like a beautiful lunatic about coffee to any pony that listened.
Okay, Twilight, you're acting really silly, said Pinkie. But silly is fine. Silly is the best mood to be in, because that means you can make people smile. I know!
Screamed Twilight from outside. I can conquer every book in days, and that means I can use the new free time to learn more about friendship! Suddenly she felt something piercing her neck. She pulled it out to see a small tranquilizer dart. When she looked up, she found Mrs. Cake inside with a tranquilizer gun in her mouth that was aimed straight for her. How dare you! I will tell you something. No pony ever stops this new coffee, Twilight! I'm coming after you! Twilight bent down on the ground, lunged for Mrs. Cake like a jaguar. Mrs. Cake screamed as the unicorn got closer. Before Mr. Cake picked up the gun and shot another dart at Twilight's belly, causing her to fall to the ground in a sleeping motion. The whole area was hazy, unfocused in a shade of dark brown. Twilight didn't know what she was looking at, but she could feel that her forehead was really... She rubbed the area around her horn and realized that it was a bag of ice on her head. You know, this fic is a great over-exaggeration. I know, Twilight, you use coffee to recharge your magic. It's the only way to enjoy Easter flowers. Exactly. Although, you should see what happens when Twilight is too drowsy or has been staying up 2 nights on 4 coffees. It's not a pretty sight. Hey, you think that's something? You should see Koga on a coffee binge. As slowly came back to her, she was starting to see the color small shape. She blinked her eyes many times, and finally made out Pinkie Pie in front of her. You're finally awake, Pinkie joyfully said. I gotta say, you snore funny. No wonder Spike is always tired. I couldn't nap either. Twilight mumbled. I'm back home? Yeah, the kids thought you was some gun that makes you sleepy. Don't worry. They only want you to pay for a new window, a new Starbed sign, and never buy coffee for them again.
That sounds awful, Pinkie. How's that supposed to be good news?
I already paid for everything.
As her vision went back to normal, she rubbed her temples over a hose, the ice bag really helping with the headache she was getting. Why would you do that?
Did you know how you were when you were really hyper? Or hyper than me, did you know that? You're the only pony that can do everything I want to do, and even better than me.
How's that supposed to help me? I hated that. I didn't have any self-control.
Silly head,
Pinkie Pie said, while dropping a huge frappe in Twilight's lap.
I'll teach you self-control. But right now, drink up. I've got a whole castle ahead of us.
We're doomed. We're all doomed. Run for the hills. Run.